Hey, Brian Miller here, and thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Thursday Thoughts called Get Out of My Gym! We're nearing the end of the New Year, New Me phase, and if your resolution, your New Year's resolution, had anything to do with fitness or going to the gym, statistically, you will give it up by the second week of February. January is a particularly trying time for my friends, and I have many of them who are into fitness, as their sacred gym space gets flooded with newbies. Now, I've never been into fitness, and it shows, but I can totally empathize with that as a former full-time comedy magician in the college campus entertainment market. Let me explain. Each year, the National Association for Campus Activities, or NACA, would get flooded at their annual regional and national conferences by local magicians who'd heard there was good money to be made in being a magician on the college campus market. It drove us crazy. And by us, I mean the 10 or 15 magicians whose full-time living was performing on college campuses. We were a tight-knit community whose entire livelihoods depended on these handful of conferences a year. And we knew that these newbies didn't have what it takes to make it in the cutthroat college entertainment world. And believe it or not, it is incredibly cutthroat. And we knew that they were going to disappear by next year's conference season. We'd seen it over and over and over again. So when my friend recently said, I wish all these newbies would just get out of my gym already. They're not even going to be here in 3 weeks. I felt that. Let's talk about the power of community. So why do people flock to the gym in January? Why do magicians, local magicians, come out in droves during conference season? Is it because they're not really taking it seriously? They think it's funny to annoy those of us who actually make our livings from it? Of course not. We don't fail our resolutions or new projects because our intentions aren't genuine. No, we fail because building a business or a new habit is hard. And it's especially hard because we often try to go it alone. Simon Sinek, a leadership expert, TED speaker, famous for Start With Why and a whole bunch of globally acclaimed books, said this recently in a podcast interview he did for Cal Fussman's Big Questions, and I'm going to read it. We're good at disappointing ourselves, but we don't like disappointing other people. He goes, I can wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning all revved up to go to the gym by myself and just change my mind and sleep in till noon, stay in bed till noon. I'm really, really good at letting myself off the hook, guilt-free. What Simon's getting at here is having an accountability partner or a gym partner makes it much, much more likely that we're going to stick to our goals and build new habits. According to the American Society of Training and Development, you are 65% likely to succeed at a goal simply by making that goal public. Right? Shouting it out on Facebook, social media, or telling the office. But interestingly, you are 95% likely to achieve that goal, to succeed, by having a specific accountability partner. Okay, so I'm skeptical of those exact numbers. Very few things in life are 95% guaranteed, but the trend is definitely right. We are significantly more likely to meet other people's expectations than our own. So what's that got to do with the new year, new me, gym-going craze? It occurred to me years ago that my attitude towards the influx of local magicians during conference season was all wrong. Nobody was trying to water down the market. These local magicians were struggling to make ends meet, and they were coming well outside their comfort zone of local birthday parties and backyard barbecues, libraries, and school shows. And for what it's worth, the risk was huge. It cost thousands of dollars to attend one of these conferences, not even to mention the cost of printing marketing materials to give away and just the opportunity cost of missing your entire weekend's worth of regular work. And without any guidance, they were going to fail hard. We'd seen it over and over and over again. The college market eats newcomers alive, emotionally and financially. So one year I decided I was going to try to be the helpful guy to all the newbies, not just magicians, but anybody who looked uncomfortable or unsure of themselves, comedians and jugglers, hypnotists, singer-songwriters, spoken word artists, just anybody. I would randomly introduce myself to people who looked a little unsure of themselves, just be like, hey, my name is Brian, is this your first time? You new here? They'd be like, oh, yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I remember the first time I was here. It's a bit overwhelming. Is there anything in particular you're having trouble with? And what's amazing is I'd always get an answer at that point. They'd be like, oh yeah, like I'm having trouble like with when students walk past the booth, like I'm having trouble getting them to stop. I don't want to be too aggressive, on and on and on and on. So I'd give them my cell, tell them to reach out anytime during the weekend or stop by my booth and ask me questions in between events or other activities. What I realized was something that Simon Sinek recently wrote about in his new book, The Infinite Game, which is this. The goal of business isn't to beat your competition. The goal of business is to stay in business. Nobody wins business. There are plenty of clients and opportunities for every magician to make a comfortable living. One more gig for her does not mean one less gig for me. It's just not a zero-sum game. So to bring this back around, if you are a regular gym goer, you are playing an infinite game. Health is an infinite game. When one person gets healthy, you don't get sicker. In fact, the more healthy people there are, the better off we all are. So consider being that person right now for all the new folks in the gym before their resolution tank runs empty. Introduce yourself, offer advice or assistance, offer to sync up schedules or tell them what your schedule is and just invite them to come on the days that you're there. Community and connection is the very best gift you could offer someone in this increasingly distracted, divisive, and digital world. And if you do it now, before the second week of February, you might just change someone's life forever. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, definitely hit the subscribe button, like it, and all those other fun things. If this message was meaningful to you, it's probably meaningful to someone in your life, a friend, family member, colleague, or coworker. Send it to them, tag us on social media. You can always use the hashtag #OneNewPerson, all spelled out, so I can find you and thank you. One New Person is the name of the podcast on which these episodes originate. Anyway, my name is Brian Miller. Thanks so much for sticking with me, and always remember that our world is a shared experience. Have a great day.